Hey Dr. Mielke, I have some questions for you. With more homes in the district that are contributing to taxes, why does the district need more money for these projects?
One of the biggest misconceptions we actually have is that when there's new homes being built, any type of new construction, the school district actually gets more money. That actually is false. The school district only gets more money based on increased enrollments that happen. So if a new subdivision or new property value would go up, it would have no impact on the school. However, it does help the taxpayer because it creates a larger tax base, and that helps all of the taxpayers in the community because everyone's sharing more of the burden of the cost, so the mill rate will actually decrease. So the new construction is a positive sign, but it actually brings in more students. If it brings in more students, it's the only way that we actually get more money.
Can impact fees be used to raise money for school construction projects?
Municipalities can charge impact fees on their own and help offset costs of other public entities, but they can't do it for a school, so it's actually illegal. The other part too is that when we think about the school, some people ask, well, why is this going to take 20 years to pay for? What we want to do is make sure that all of the new people that are coming in to the district, the 2,000 new lots that have been approved, are part of the process and also help pay for part of the improvements. And then looking backwards, if we look at things now, the district is almost debt-free, and that's because previous generations or previous taxpayers have actually built the schools and built the facilities for what we have. So this is our chance to go ahead and pay it forward, and it's the way the system has always really worked for us.
Would the district be in a better position to add more classrooms had it not built the Hamilton Athletic Center?
One of the things that this referendum is really about, it's about classroom space. And when you continue to add on classrooms to existing buildings, like for example, Hamilton has had several additions of new classrooms, your common area spaces like your cafeteria, your gym space, your libraries become a lot more smaller, and there's a lot more pressure on them. So before the Hamilton Athletic Center was built, and we looked at it, kids were running in the halls, they're running in the cafeteria, it's not the best place to be, it's not the safest environment for kids, it's not the most productive. So the facilities committee got together, and actually there was a large group of people that wanted to go ahead and build a field house. The field house would have been triple the cost of what the athletic center is now. So the athletic center, when you look at it, was actually a really good purchase for the district. It was about classroom space. It gets utilized every day of the year practically. It's scheduled for the Phi-Ed classes from the start of the school day through the end of the school day. That means all of our kids at some time use it. If you look after the school day, it's scheduled practically every school day by our strength and conditioning club, which there are over a couple hundred kids in that program that use it every single day. And then actually some of our biggest users of the program are cheer, girls golf, girls soccer, softball, and baseball are groups that utilize that center a lot. So it's a very versatile, it's a really good addition to a district, and actually when you look at cost comparisons, it was a very economical choice at the time.
I saw a post on Facebook that said approving operational costs was like giving the district a blank check to spend money. Is that true?
One of the questions that came up too also was that, is the district getting a blank check because of the operating cost? And are they no longer under the state-imposed budgets? The one thing or state-imposed limitations. The one thing to understand here is that not all districts are the same. So Hamilton actually is below the state average. We're well below what some of the area districts spend. If we would spend the same amount per student as some of our area districts, we'd either have $10, $12 million more every year to spend. So we are a low spending district. When the operational costs come in, basically what we're saying is if this is our revenue limit, we're just asking that we increase it one time to here, and the limit maintains there throughout. And if we still look, even with that increase, we would still be here, and many of our other districts are significantly above where we would still be. So it's a one-time increase, and that increase would be maintained because we're opening the new building, and that new building is going to come with new costs, and those costs will never go away.
I don't have children in the district. Why should I contribute?
If you look back, I think really the country was built on the premise of public education and what it can do for a community. One of the number one things that people look for in communities is strong schools. And when you have a strong school system like Hamilton has, it brings people in. So if I look as a homeowner for my property value, it maintains it up. If I find a need that I need to sell or move somewhere, very often in the district, the homes are sold at this time within a few days, if not maybe a few weeks. I have many examples of where homes were on the market for less than 12 hours and they were sold. The other thing we looked at, it creates great opportunities for kids, which brings more businesses and things in, and the community continues to grow, and the community itself thrives and benefits from that.
Okay, Dr. Mielke, there's still a few things I don't get. Can't the district find additional operating costs in the existing budget?
Hamilton is a very low spending district. If we look in comparison across the state, we're actually a number in the top 1% of achievement in the state, and we're in the bottom 5% in spending. That means we've been very efficient with how we run things. We've been very frugal with the money that we have. So in order to come up with the operating costs within our own budget would be extremely difficult. If we look at some of the things that we've done to save money is post-retirement health insurance, for example, has been completely eliminated. The district saved over $33 million a few years ago when that part was gone. Not many districts can say that. If we look at, we've been really good with energy efficiency items that we've gone ahead and gone through. We are very low staffed in terms of administrators. If you look at our administrator per pupil, is very low compared to the state average. So there's very little extra money within the budget. We're really proud of that, and we put all of our resources, as many as possible, into the classroom. We're just asking to maintain our current services and continue to do so in the efficient manner that we have in the past.
I heard someone say that supporting the referendum only encourages wasteful spending. Is this true?
We aren't asking this for other programs. This is a brand new building that needs to be heated and cooled. Transportation costs will come with that. The extra money that we're asking for doesn't come close to covering the total operation of that building. All the teachers and staff and any staff that we can consolidate and move to the new building from our existing, we will go ahead and do that. So the increase that we're asking for isn't about frivolous spending. It's about giving enough to maintain the current service that our community has grown accustomed to. And again, I just want to reiterate that we're in the top 1% in achievement in the state, and we're in the lowest 5% spending in the state. That is a combination that I would say is unmatched by any district, and we're just asking to maintain those current services. We think we're doing things very well. We have a very supportive community, and we want to make sure that we can continue to serve our community in the ways that we have in the past.
It seems this referendum happened quickly. Why was it scheduled for February?
The planning for the referendum has been a long time coming. We started well over a year. Facilities committee got together. There were business partners there, business community members. There were senior citizens involved. There were people with kids, people without kids, all ages. We also had staff members involved. They got together and they looked at a lot of different options, and that happened starting last January. And then actually we got survey data from our community. We looked at some things and we kind of put everything on hold, and then we did some informational outreach to make sure people had a really good understanding of what we were trying to do, and that happened over the course of March, April, May, all the way through June, July, August. And then the group got back together in October. We convened and said, hey, this is what we think we need and this is what's important. They cut anything that wasn't about classroom space was eliminated. And the group got together and said, look, this is what we really need to make sure that Hamilton continues to be a great school district and that we have the space really for our students. So that group made the recommendation to the school board in November, and we decided to go to vote in February. There's actually a new state law that limits when school districts can go to referendum that was enacted this year. They can either go into a spring primary, a spring general election, or the fall general election, and we are in a spring primary. One of the most important factors too when you look at the 6 weeks is there are a lot of benefits starting 6 weeks earlier. One of the things is when you look at winter construction, you can lose a lot of money if the project isn't shelled in time, and then you have to bring in heaters and do things like that. So anytime you can get 6 weeks head start basically on a project, it can help actually bring the cost of the project down to make sure you stay within budget and maintain. So that's part of the consideration. The other part of the consideration is we want to make sure that the building is ready in August, mid-August for those kids. Everything is moved in and ready to go so that when the first day of school comes in September, that we are set.
If the referendum passes, what is the timeline going forward?
If the referendum does pass, it's going to start to move very quickly. If we look at the two projects that start with the intermediate school bids would be out within a few weeks of everything finalized with a successful referendum. We believe the construction would probably start around April and would be completed in time for the following school year. So it would be one school year before the intermediate school would come online, and that means that any students who are currently in 3rd and 4th grade would be the 1st, 5th, and 6th grade students in that building. If we look at the high school, that project would be done in phases. And there's basically the addition on the front, which would start immediately also, and that would be probably, there's a potential that would be done during the school year yet next year, so maybe during like a Christmas break, there could be some movement involved in utilizing that space. The couple of the classrooms in the back, as far as the applied engineering, those would be started immediately, and probably 1 or 2 of those spaces would be completed over the summer and be ready for actually next school year, the 2018 school year. And then the construction company would come back and finish construction on the other areas that weren't updated the following summer. So then that means that everything would be completed by the start of the 2019-2020 school year.
Please don't forget, the Hamilton School District referendum is Tuesday, February 20th. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.